Located at Ruharo Hill, 3 kilometers off Mbarabushenya Road, is the East African Revival Museum. The museum is housed in this structure, which is over 100 years old, and was the home of the last 5 bishops of Ankole and the base of the Church Missionary Society. The museum was commissioned on the 11th of September 2016 by President Museveni. But what inspired the leadership of the diocese to come up with such an idea of the East African Revival Museum?
The inspiration for this museum started when I visited Kabale. Along the way there is a museum for African traditional religious practices, with all these gods we used to worship, with all figures, with the weird faces. And I said, really, if these people can keep this culture and tradition preserved, and we have a museum, people go there and see, how about this great East African tradition which transformed lives?
The East African Revival spread to the Anglican Church in Uganda from the northeast Rwanda to Kenya and other neighboring countries. Here in Uganda, it is believed to have started with a meeting between a missionary, Dr. Joel Church, and Simeon Nsibambi, who was later father of former Prime Minister, the late Apollo Nsibambi.
From 1936, that's when we received a transformation, a touch of the Holy Spirit descending upon Christians who were there at that time, including some missionaries who were in the mix. This was a new move, and the new move was tagged East African Revival.
The museum houses artifacts, documentaries, and research on religious beliefs and practices, among other exhibits. Mary Bariamujura, the chairperson of the East African Revival Museum, gives me a guided tour of the facility.
Dr. Joe and his wife, the church, and then William Nagenda, and then you come, there's Nsibambi, and then there is all those, the whole story is in here. So when you come, you read it you can read this and get how the revival was.
Inside the museum are also pictures of important people who played a critical role in the revival, who included William Nagenda, father of John Nagenda, Simeon Nsibambi, father of former Prime Minister Professor Nsibambi, among others.
It's a good history. Yes, Simeon Nsibambi and Hiva, these are the parents of the this is Eric and Jared and Sabit, the one I told who later became the Archbishop.
There is also the Ankole Kingdom Royal Drum, which was donated to the church.
Ankole Kingdom Royal Drum, it was made in 1508.
Among the exhibits are blocks that were used in building the first Anglican Church in Ankole and the first shepherd's staff used by the first bishop.
You can see they were just bricks, and there were some pieces of what? Of grass to reinforce. And you can see these bricks, 1901, they are still here. Because like a bishop is supposed to be a shepherd. So this is the first one for this diocese. Now there's a new one. And there's also this one. So these are museum pieces.
The museum also has one room with history about the late Archbishop Luwum.
Many people don't understand that one of the motivations that led General Luwum to die for his faith was that he was a member of the East African Revival. That motivation, that's where it comes from. So we need to preserve that, and that's where it starts.
General Luwum was born in 1922 in Wayne Village, Muchini, sub-county in the present-day Kitukumu district of northern Uganda.
Another room in here is the exhibition of the Uganda Matters. Outside this historic building is yet another very important structure.
This was the residence of the Church Missionary Society ladies. So this house used to be a house known as Miss Moa's house and Miss Brewer. So I think one was called Moa, one was called Brewer. So they lived here.
It has remained in its original form with some of the original materials used still intact.
This was their kitchen. More than 100 years, it's still standing. Look at the shelves. So this is what heritage is all about. This is what preservation is all about.
There is a lot of rich history here. We have the very first church in the western region, that is at Kamukuzi. Even the wall is still standing there. The wall is still standing. The church was built in 1800s. When you go there, you see the wall there. We have Christian missionaries, CMS missionaries who were buried at Kamukuzi there. And here we could easily have what we call a faith walk trail that could show the faith that was there in times past. And there are many other features which can comprise such a faith walk, because faith tourism in the Western countries is very, very big time.
This is the first piano that was played at St. James Cathedral here at Ruharo Hill in Mbarara. The one behind was the second, that found here at the East Africa Revival Museum at Ruharo Hill in Mbarara. The church believes that through promotion of this history, Ugandans and the world at large will get to appreciate the history of faith in the country. Benjamin Jumbe, NTV.